Hi, this is Izzuddin Ismail from the RunCloud Show, and where we talk to PHP programmers from around the world. And today we have here with us Tessa Mero. Hello, Tessa.
Hello.
And with Tessa today, we will be talking about the PNWPHP. And of course, before that, like what RunCloud Show is about, we're gonna grill a little bit. We're gonna grill Tessa a little bit about what she does, about how she got into programming and other stuff. Okay, so Tessa,
Yes.
I think maybe before anything else, maybe you can tell us what is the PNWPHP.
PNWPHP is the Pacific Northwest PHP Conference. It's a regional PHP event located in Seattle, Washington. And our next event is in September 7th through the 9th this year. And we're very excited about it. This is our third annual event.
Oh, okay, it's the third one. So 9th of September, 9 then.
7th through the 9th, correct.
Oh, 7th to the 9th, all right. Okay, so before we get more into PNWPHP, we'd like to know more about you then.
Sure.
All right, I think
I know a little bit about that.
Okay, first of all, what is it that you do actually? I think recently we got news that you've got into a new position with a new company.
Yes, I started out as a developer evangelist last March, and I got hired by Cisco Systems. And I'm very excited about it. It's always been a dream to become a developer evangelist, which is more like an advocate, not to confuse the word evangelist with religion-related stuff.
All
You're
right.
advocating for the product or the company.
We'd like to know about what an evangelist do after this, but maybe you can tell us about what you did before Cisco and maybe how you got into programming.
Sure. My last job, I was teaching PHP and a lot of other technologies at a community college. I was doing like a 3-hour a day lecture in class on PHP, and then the rest of the classes I was teaching was all online courses. And I wanted to extend my knowledge on PHP. What are the new tools people are using? What are the new things people are using? So I started going to the PHP meetups like quite a while back, and just to learn about stuff to add to my curriculum. And I added a lot of new things to what students were learning based on what I was learning at meetups. And I ended up making friends, and I ended up helping out at the meetup, going early and staying late and putting away chairs and just, being nice and helping out. And that's kind of, what I'm always doing for everything. It's kind of naturally ingrained in me to do that. And I ended up being invited to be an organizer of the event, and then a year later I ended up taking over the whole meetup and conference.
What event was that you organized?
The Seattle PHP Meetup, and when I became the co-organizer, we put together our first conference, and then after the first conference, our main organizer, the president of the conference and meetup, moved to another state, and I ended up taking over for the meetup and conference from there, and I've been doing that since.
All right. So, when did you started going out to meetups, to conferences and meetups?
2013, I started going to the PHP meetups and going to conferences, but I started going to conferences in 2011, and I was highly involved with the Joomla community and going to a lot of Joomla events, as a lot of the custom applications I was building and custom PHP and MySQL was all in Joomla CMS, and I started going to conferences to learn more about the system, and I ended up being part of the organization. I ended up being part of the board of directors for a while, and I joined the production leadership team, and I did that for a few years. Then I moved to the PHP community.
So you are a part of the Joomla board, you said?
Board of directors, correct.
All right. So how does that work? What do you do there?
We're in charge of like major decisions on voting on things that really affect the whole community and the CMS. We're in charge of like legal and the finances and any decisions for all the major leadership teams. So it's a lot of voting that seems simple, but it really affects like everything about everything. So it's a really big deal to be part of the board of directors, and it's really hard to get into. You have to be part of the Joomla community for a long time and really understand the CMS.
Yeah, I believe so. It's interesting. So you've been using Joomla for quite a while now.
Not recently. It's not part of my job for quite a while now, but I still have some love for it and the community. I still have a lot of friends that I have on Facebook and Twitter that's from the community. So when you go to so many conferences and see the same people as a speaker or attendee, you tend to they become a family to you. And that's what happens to the PHP community too. Like everyone, it's like when I see them, it's like it feels like you've been friends since you were kids. It's a good feeling.
Yeah. All right. So you said I'm trying to get to know more and more about what the stuff that you did and about things that you've built. Right. So you said you've done application custom things with Joomla. Do you mind sharing what that is?
Sure. I used an extension called Fabric that you install into Joomla, and it's like a custom application builder. It makes it really easy to start building relational data. And I built a system for over 3 years for a ski and snowboard company, and I made a custom system for every product that they had: skis, snowboards, the boots, helmets, and bindings, and etc., and snowshoes. So we have a ton of different types of products, and I worked in the engineering team, the product engineering team, and we have a Seattle location where I live of a couple hundred people, and then we have our factories in Germany and in China of thousands of people. And when you have all these engineering teams that need to approve each other's work, you need a system to do that. When you have 12 levels of approvals, and there's just a lot of different ways to approve an item before you can make 5 of one item, and then you can, when that series of approvals are done, you can make 25 of those items, and then it turns to 100 and then thousands of that items. So if the process goes wrong anywhere, that's millions of dollars of loss for the company. So I made it so it's easy for us to prevent loss of money, of revenue.
What I can recall that you said you had 12 levels of approvals.
Yeah, and there's just like so many things, because the engineers upload graphics, different types of graphics, and every snowboard and every ski has a different set of parts that makes the item. So I had a whole database table that's like the definition of parts, and every set of parts had its own ID. So that was attached to every product. And when all of those files are uploaded, it'll automatically turn green and give it a go for the next group of people to approve the product. And it was there's a lot of different pages and different things that to make it work appropriately. But it's a very difficult project, as it's more complicated than what I can explain. And it took 3 to 6 months of meeting with different engineers and planning out all of the specifications for the application, and really understanding the business and workflow. And if you understand the workflow, what happens next, what needs to happen next, what's your current process, and what is the process that you wish to have, you can build their dream system to make their work very efficient. And it was a very fun job. I lost a lot of sleep through my through those years though, because they're like, I want you to do this and then do that. And I'm like, but I've never done that before and I have no clue how to do it. But I can't say that. I have to tell them, like, I will see what I can do, and I'll get back to you on that. So it's like reading tutorials like crazy and just reading, and the PHP documentation is really great, and I've lived on that website for a long time, and it was really great. And I worked with the date function so much because if something's late, everything turns red and sends out, warning emails that things need to be submitted and turned in, and things have to hit specific due dates, or else the product is late and everything gets thrown off, and then all our buyers for our products don't get their items in time. So I mean, it's a big deal, especially when these products cost us hundreds of dollars, $100+ each to build, and then these companies are paying a lot of money for it. So every issue in the workflow can, cause a major loss of revenue.
So you built all that with Joomla and Fabricator on top of that?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So I assume that having Joomla and Fabricator on top of that, it makes development a lot more easier rather than to build it from scratch.
I had very, very tight deadlines for a one-person development team.
Oh, wow.
And that was my only way of getting things done very, very quickly. Otherwise, if I had like a whole team and a lot more, I wouldn't need more time with a team. We would have possibly used a different route, like a PHP framework. But for a one-person team, for a very, very large company, that was new to programming. That's the best thing. And also for people that are not like super like senior programmers, you can easily build custom applications. It's really a really great tool to use.
What was the name of the tool again?
Fabric. It's
Fabric.
FABRIKAR. No, fabrikar.com. FABRIKAR.com. It's confusing.
All right. I think maybe others can go check it out after this.
Yeah.
So let's go way back and some more. When did you start programming at all?
I went to college for programming, the web application development program, and I used to build websites when I was young. It was not when I was a teenager. I went to college as a teenager. I was done with high school at 16 and went to college and studied web application. And it was it was really basic back then. And it was a lot of fun, but there was absolutely no jobs back in 17 to 20 years ago. There was no jobs in being a web developer that I was able to find. So I ended up going a different route and studying other things. And then I ended up taking a break from school because I had no idea what I wanted to do. When you don't know what you want to do, you just kind of, stop studying things.
Mm.
Yeah, and then I ended up going back to college and saying, okay, I really need to find a program that I love. And then I saw, oh, there's a web application program, and that's, something that I've always enjoyed doing. I used to build, when I was 18 years old, I had my own like website store where I was selling stuff. And
oh, wow.
So I was managing an online store that I built for many years, making like side income. But
what did you sell?
Digital items and video games. And I played a lot of games where I'd buy bulk stuff and then resell it for money through PayPal. But back then I didn't know how to make an e-commerce system. So it was like, email me if you want to purchase anything. But I had a link for the image of every single item with a price. So they click on it, they see what they want, and then they like kind of list out what they want, and then they PayPal me the money, and then I send them the items.
Oh, all right, that works.
And people trusted me because you build a reputation around the game before they do that. So.
Oh, wow. So you were in the gaming community before you got into the programming PHP community?
Yeah, I was in the gaming community for like a decade. I've been to dozens and dozens and countless events, conferences. So I've been doing conferences since I was, oh my God, so long ago, 20 years old. 20 years. And I'm a lot older than anyone thinks, so. So 20 was a very long time ago.
What kind of games did you play? Did you got involved with?
Mass multiplayer games and role-playing games.
Warcraft, Starcraft, those kind of stuff.
Not those specific particular games. I played like Star Wars Galaxies, EverQuest 2, Diablo 2. I'm kind of tinkering around in that game these days. And Lineage 2. I did play World of Warcraft for a little while, and a lot of different games, but yeah, it was good times. I went, these conferences are actually called LAN parties, LAN network. And
you bring your big box machine,
yep,
and long LAN cables.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I stopped doing that back in 2008. And then,
well, do you play any game at all nowadays?
Now, it's harder to find time as I'm doing, I have a full-time job, and then I'm going back to school. So I started school like 6 months ago, studying management to, improve my work at Cisco, where I work. And yeah, I try to stay busy, and I always earn time for myself so I can. Sorry, the dog is really loud.
Oh wow! What are those?
What was that?
What do you have there?
I have a Staffordshire Terrier, and when a car pulls up, she starts crying like crazy at the door.
Oh, did you need to go to that?
Oh no, it's fine.
All right.
Hold on a second. Okay.
All right. Okay, now let's get back into Pacific Northwest PHP Conference.
Sure, yeah. So we're really, really excited about this third annual event, and our last two events was a huge success. People were really happy about it, so we've been building a local community around the Pacific Northwest PHP Conference, and we've used a different venue each year, and we're doing a better venue each time as we've been putting more and more research into it. And we already announced one keynote speaker, and we haven't announced the other keynote speakers, and we're putting together the schedule right now. It's a lot of work to run a conference, and we've been, putting our weekends and our evenings and our time into this. And like, for example, tonight I'll be spending all night putting together the schedule, and I really want to announce it because we are going to start selling tickets in the next day or two.
Oh wow! All right. So, what it's like for the past two ones? Like, how many participants did you have, and and stuff like that?
We had 200 participants last year, and then the year before we had exactly 200. We're going for 440 this year, as that's our maximum capacity. And since we've built awareness about what our conference is, we're hoping for more attendees, and we're very excited about it.
How much do tickets go for?
Last year was about $250-ish, but we've increased prices significantly to $399 a ticket due to the costs to run an event and pay for the speakers in comparison to the money coming in for sponsors. So it's been harder to get sponsors this and last year, as there's more and more conferences being created every month. And, you can look up conferences in San Francisco. There's probably 2 every day that's running at the same time. So it's in Seattle. There's so many different tech events. It's really hard when you contact a sponsor. Usually they're like, oh, we've had 50 people asking us to sponsor their event this month. So sponsor budget's always tight and really hard to get. So it's a very difficult thing. It's something you have to really create relationships over time with so many different companies to build a trust and build your reputation to continue sponsorships with them. So
yeah, you do hope that when you get one, they continue to sponsor you year after year after year, right? So
yeah, several of my current sponsors are from previous years. Once they sponsored, they realized how beneficial and how and what a great decision it is, so they want to sponsor again. So it's getting new sponsors that are really difficult, as they've never been to your event, they don't know anything about it, and once they attend, then it's easy from there.
Right. So this go for 3 days, from the 7th to the 9th.
Yes, so first day one is the workshop day, and we're going to do a lot of beginner content and maybe some mid to advanced level, but we're going to focus on probably learn a new tool. And day 2 and 3, we're going to have very high level content. We're trying to attract mid to senior level developers in the Seattle area, and we just planned a panel for each day. So we're going to have a panel on day 1 after lunch about open source, contributing to open source, where we're going to have several people on stage, just have an open discussion about it and answering some questions that I provide. And then day 2, we're going to do a panel about UX and UI to benefit developers and to help out developers. And yeah, I already have some panelists already picked out for both, and yeah,
do you mind sharing who they are?
For the panelist for the UX UI stuff was Aaron O'Neill, and for open source I have Margaret Staples, and I still have more that I'm discussing with, but not official yet. So I'm hoping to have everything announced this week. It was supposed to be done earlier, but life gets in the way, and it's hard to stay on schedule with all your volunteer stuff. It's easier to stay on schedule with work stuff, though.
Right. Yeah. You said about life gets in the way and stuff. Do you mind sharing some stuff with your personal life? I sometimes read your post where you go camping and you go outside a lot.
Yeah, I absolutely love to camp. I took advantage of Memorial Weekend last weekend and took my kids out on a camping trip. But for some reason, I cannot get away from being on a computer and doing things and even work, just keeping up with emails and messages. I'm addicted to it. And I've always been since I was young. I'm always I have to be online. So I always find camping spots with Wi-Fi and and a place to charge my laptop. I even called and made sure that I got and I glamp, not camp. I don't stay in tents. I stay in cabins or places with beds in it.
Okay.
So I can be comfortable. And yeah, so I keep up with everything there, and it's great because my kids can run around and play and be free and get all their energy out, and I can just sit down at the campfire and sometimes with my laptop, and it's relaxing for me.
It's relaxing, and you can still get some work done.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm kind of not getting away from work and volunteer stuff. I'm actually camping. I'm getting away from chores. I don't have to do laundry, and that never ends. Every day, laundry and dishes every single day.
Yeah.
And I really hate it.
You have kids. Let them do it.
Right? Oh, let me show you my I think you can see my collection of elephants. My entire desk up there are all elephants. really see it.
All those are elephants. I see orange, yellow, and some...
Then I have that big green one I won at
Yeah.
zencon.com.
Oh, wow.
A pretty large conference in Las Vegas. And if you love Las Vegas and you love PHP and you love Zen framework, then that's a conference to go to. And just because it's called, ZenCon, it's not focused on Zen. It's like sponsored by Zen. So there's sessions on everything you can think of. It's a really great event.
So how old are your kids again?
They're 8 and 6. 8
and 6. Okay. Yep. Old enough to do dishes and laundry, I think.
Well, they're not tall enough to stink and not tall enough to reach the washer and dryer. So in the next year, when they get their growth spurt, they're going to be my little helpers. I'll call it helpers. They're helping, but doing everything.
Right. Okay. How about some final words about calling out to friends and PHP programmers, especially in the Pacific Northwest area, Seattle and nearby areas? Why should they come? Why should they go to PNWPHP? Okay,
first off, shout-outs. I can't do shout-outs because I can just name 20 people and then still leave out 50 other great people. So I just, a shout-out goes to the entire PHP community.
Yeah.
What defines the PHP community? If you go to a meetup, if you go to a conference, if you engage in any conversation, if you use PHP, if you're involved in anything related to PHP, you are in the PHP community. So that's what defines that word specifically every time I say PHP community. So why should everyone go to the conference? We are a very close local community. I've had great feedback where developers say they just absolutely love the conference and they really felt connected with the community. They really felt like they've learned a lot. I pick very high quality speakers from around the world and fly them in for this event. Although there's a lot of great local speakers, but I try to make it very diverse with like location and everything else. So if you want to learn very high quality content and improve yourself as a mid to senior level developer or a new developer for workshops, this is definitely the place to go. This is the only PHP conference that I know of in the Pacific Northwest, aside from ZenCon in Las Vegas, but that's still quite far away. And yeah, everyone who has been to the event has been dying to go to the next one. So hopefully we have more people to realize what a great event it is.
All right. I think you're doing good work here. And I'm sure people are going to benefit a lot from your conference and that you're organizing right now. I do hope that it will be a great success. I'm sure that it will.
Yeah, thank you very much. And a reminder, the URL for the event is PNWPHP.com, which stands for Pacific Northwest PHP Conference. So to make that easy.
All right.
Great.
Yeah. So they can start buying tickets in the next few days. Maybe by the time we have this video up, it'll be on sale already.
Yep, you'll find a purchase link right on the homepage. And I'm having the website redesigned also, and it's actually rebuilt already, and that's going live in the next day or two.
All right, great.
Thank you.
I guess this has been a really great time. I've been we've been on Facebook friends for a while. Not that very long though. I mean, maybe since a few months back. But it's glad to finally be able to speak to you in person, even though by Skype. And,
thank you.
Yeah, and you've helped me with some context, introducing me for the RunCloud Show. I've had great guests, and I really want to thank you for that as well.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You've been very busy, so I'm happy to see that.
All right, I guess let's end this one here right now. But I'm sure that we'll cross paths again, and maybe we'll have you on the show again next time.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much for your time.
And thank you for your time as well.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.